Up until that day, most of her notoriety in running had come from cross country. She had won silver at the World Cross Country Championships every year between 1992 and 1995, gold at the European Cross Country Championships in 1994, and bronze in the team category at World Cross just 6 months earlier. Of course, she'd had some success on the track as well, having won 5 national titles in 6 years and representing Ireland at the 1992 and 1996 Olympics. But when it came to road racing, today she was navigating uncharted waters. The trip to Germany was quick, and the weather could not have been more amicable for race day, with lows in the mid-40s and highs in the low 60s. She crossed the starting line that morning feeling good, and the finish line 2 hours, 23 minutes, and 44 seconds later, feeling even better. Not only had she won, but it was the fastest marathon debut for a woman in history. Today is September 28th, 2025, and on this day in 1997, Irish runner Catherina McKiernan won the 24th annual Berlin Marathon in what was both a course and national record. In this episode, we'll sit down with Catherina herself to hear what that day was really like. I'm your host, Running Up That Hillary, and you are listening to Today in Running History. I am gearing up to run the Chicago Marathon in just about 2 weeks, and today's episode is sponsored by my race tats, one of the secret weapons that will get me through that race. First of all, thank you so much to everyone who participated in the giveaway, and congratulations to Taylor Myers for being our lucky winner. If you missed out and will be running Chicago, here is your chance to get a free Run Chicago temporary tattoo. It's probably showing up as backwards, but can you see that? Anyways, it's the right way once it's on. I will have these with me from the moment I land at Midway until the second I've given all of them out, and all you have to do is find me in person at some point and ask for one. I am not sure about everything I'll be doing, but I will be at the expo at some point. Plus, I'm attending the live taping of Nobody Asked Us with Des and Kara on Friday, so if you happen to see me and recognize me at some point, ask for a tattoo. Everyone else, you can always save 20% off your purchase from my race tats by entering my code Hillary at checkout. Now, for anyone paying attention, you may have noticed that I jumped from September 20th to 28th. There will be some changes to the frequency of this podcast, which I will announce in the next episode. But just to fill the gap, here are a few things that happened during the week of September 21st through September 27th, which may be topics for future episodes or can just be conversation starters at your run club this week. On September 21st, 2014, Dina Castor broke the world record in the women's masters division of the marathon. On September 22nd, 1979, Norwegian runner Grete Waitz began a winning streak that would last for 28 consecutive races. On September 23rd, 2000, Obadele Thompson of Barbados won bronze in the men's 100 meters at the Sydney Olympics, making him the only Barbadian in history to win an Olympic medal. On September 24th, 1921, ABC Sports broadcasting icon Jim McKay was born. On September 25th, 2000, Kathy Freeman became the first Indigenous Australian to win an Olympic gold medal. On September 26th, 2004, Canadian Ed Whitlock became the first person over the age of 70 to run a marathon in less than 3 hours. And on September 27th, 1988, Canadian sprinter Ben Johnson was disqualified after winning Olympic gold when he was caught doping. And that brings us to September 28th, 1997, exactly 28 years ago today. So let's go ahead and welcome Catherina McKiernan to Today in Running History. All right, I am here with Catherina McKiernan, who won the 1997 Berlin Marathon. How are you doing this morning, Catherina? Or I guess I should say afternoon, where you are.
It's afternoon here, Hillary. Yeah, very good. Thank you. And looking forward to speaking with you.
Awesome. Why don't you tell us about your background prior to marathoning? How did you get started with running?
Yes, I suppose I grew up on a farm and I was very active as a youngster, just always running around the place and running around the farm. And it wasn't until my last year at secondary school, there was an athletic club set up, and I won the All Ireland schools from that. And I suppose I realised then that I had a talent for running, and that's how it really started, to be honest, from the All Ireland schools championships. So I would have done a lot of cross country to start off with, and then obviously track and road, and then I moved into doing the marathons.
Great. So how did you go from cross country? When did you move on to the tracks? And you had a pretty good career on the track as well.
Yeah, so I suppose I would have done the world cross country maybe six or seven times, and obviously I have four silver medals in the world cross country championships. The first one of those was in Boston, and Lynn Jennings actually won that day. And so that was for 4 or 5 years that I did the cross country, and I would have been doing some track races in between that as well. I ran in the Olympics in '92 and '96, and then when I felt that I did all that I could on cross country and track, I felt that it was time then to move to the marathon, and it was something that I was always going to do. But we did feel, my coach and I felt, and we were advised that to do the shorter races, so that I would be good for the marathons. And I loved the transition from the shorter races to marathon training. It suited me much better. It suited my makeup, and it was longer, slower reps. And my first marathon, which was in Berlin that summer, I really enjoyed the training for it. I suppose, as they say, a change is as good as a rest, but I definitely looked forward to every training session. It was all new to me, and I just felt very good. I felt that it was running within myself and nothing seemed difficult. Whereas compared to the track, it was fast, and it just felt a little bit more difficult for me than the longer, slower stuff that I would have been doing for track training, like the longer repetitions, the longer threshold run, and then obviously building up the long run.
And so Berlin would be your first marathon. What made you choose that race in particular?
Yeah, well, it's a very flat course, and it's close to home as well. And I suppose when you're running a marathon, you want the best conditions. Um, I didn't want to be running, although I would have been very used to training up and down hills, but you're going to run faster on a flat course, and obviously we all want to run as fast as we possibly can. So, I suppose the course and how close it was to home as well, and being in September, we had a fair idea that the weather would be, it wouldn't be too hot, it wouldn't be too cold, that the conditions would be good. So that was our reasoning for choosing Berlin.
That makes sense. Now, you had not run a marathon before. What was your goal going into the Berlin Marathon? Did you aim to win, or was that on your radar at all?
Yeah, I suppose, to be honest, I didn't really think about that. It was my first marathon, and I knew that I had prepared really well. And it was, I was going to run a personal best because I had never run a marathon before. But I really hadn't thought, to be honest, about what position I was going to finish in, what time I was going to run. I just was going to, as I say, prepare well and then see what happened on the day. And, the fact that I had prepared well psychologically, I was very confident in myself. And then obviously as the race went on, I felt very, very comfortable, and yeah, really comfortable as the race went on. And, I often say about Berlin Marathon, when I ran it, it felt like just a 10K race because, yeah, it felt easy for me.
Where were your thoughts that morning before you started the race? Were you nervous, excited, all of the above?
Yeah, I suppose all of the above, Hillary. Yeah, as I said, when you do something new, there's new energy about it, and I was excited, and confident because, as I said, I knew that I had trained really well, and um, I knew then that I just had to just not go out too fast, obviously, as a lot of people do in marathons, and particularly in their first marathon. They get carried away with the atmosphere. So I just knew not to go out too fast and hold back. Um, and I think when you do that in a marathon, and if you have prepared well, that you're going to do yourself justice.
Great. Now, what are your most vivid memories on the course?
Yeah, I suppose there was some supporters came over from Ireland to watch the race, and I remember seeing some of them, and they were really very good supporters. They would have come to a lot of my races abroad, and I remember seeing them at halfway, and they were cheering me on, and I felt so good, and they knew their athletics, and they knew that, when they saw me running by, they knew that I was running well, so. I suppose within myself and just in my own mind, I thought, okay, I'm going to give these people something to be happy about today. And really, that was really all. When you're running a marathon, you just get into that zone, and it's just one step after another. And um, when you're feeling good, it's just, you just keep grinding out the miles. And yeah, just I do remember coming into the home straight, and just I felt like if I was flying, I was bouncing off the road. And yeah, it was lovely just to cross the finish line in my first marathon, finishing first.
That's great. And when you finished, obviously you broke the tape, so you knew that you won, but were you aware that you had set a national record as well as a debut record?
Yeah, not until a little bit afterwards. To be honest, Hilary, I'm not sure did I even know what the national record was going into it. As I said, we didn't really talk about time, what time I was going to run or anything like that. It was all about just preparing well and seeing what happened.
And how did you celebrate? Obviously, there was the podium, all of that. What did that look like? How were you feeling? Where were your thoughts at that point?
Yeah, well, if I'm honest, Hilary, I don't remember too much about that part of it. But I'm sure, like with every race, and regardless, where you finish, you know that you have done your best. You have that great feeling of satisfaction within you. And I would have had, been very happy, and just that great feeling, especially in a marathon, so much can go wrong. And, you know, the fact that everything went right and that I ran a fast time, I just felt, very content within myself. And I was happy that, obviously the news got home that I had won. And I would have always, during my career, always thought of my supporters and the people that were supporting me and helping me out, and they were a great driving force for me. And I always say, like during a race when I felt very tired, it was those people that I would have thought about, and they would have, got me to the finish line. And knowing that I was bringing joy to other people, that was a great sense of satisfaction for me.
That's great. Now, how did your career change after that? Because this was not your last marathon, and so you continued with marathoning. What did that look like?
Yeah, so to be honest, Hilary, I've only run 4 marathons, and three of them I won, Berlin, London, and Amsterdam. And then I went to Chicago. I didn't have such a good day there. But so after Berlin in September, the following April, I won the London Marathon. And then that October or November, actually, I won the Amsterdam Marathon. So I was on a winning streak. And in between that, I have actually ran some cross country races. I ran some road races, and I think I probably was 21 races that I won on the trot. Also, some races on the road over varying distances, anything from 5 miles, uh, 10 Ks, 10 miles, half marathons. So, yeah, I was definitely I was at the peak of my health, and there was no stopping me during that period of time.
That's great. Now, did you have you been to the Olympics since then to as a spectator?
So I ran in two Olympics, 92 in Barcelona and 96 in Atlanta. And then I actually missed out on the So I had been going running really well in 97, 98, 99, and then for the Olympics in Sydney in 2000, I was just exhausted at that stage. And I was planning on running the marathon, but yeah, my body was tired out. I probably had done too much,
Yeah.
and didn't get to run the marathon in Sydney. And looking back, or I remember at the time, didn't even feel that disappointed because I just knew that I wasn't going to run well, and there was no point in going knowing that I wasn't in the best of form.
Have you been to watch the Olympics to any of them? Any that have
So
been in Europe or anything like that?
So I did go to Sydney actually,
Okay.
with the the national radio station, and did a little bit of work there. So yeah, it was in a very different capacity than running, but it was nice to go, to be honest, and experience it from a different angle.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it. I always think that's so cool that just all the different ways that people get involved with the Olympics, and I would love to go at some point and watch. So that would
Well,
be
I'm sure you can go to LA.
possibly.
Yes, yeah,
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 yeah, it's not too far from here.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Now, what does your relationship look like with running these days?
So I have some running groups, and I help people with their running, and there can be anybody running 5K up to marathons. And then I also teach Pilates, which I've started recently, and I'm enjoying that. It's just, it's different. Suppose different clientele, and it's nice to meet different people. And yeah, myself, I just go for short runs, half-hour runs, a few times a week, and I call them sanity runs because look, it's something that I've been always used to, and it's a routine and it's a structure for me, and it's something that I enjoy and that I'm very thankful that I'm still able to do.
Yeah, I think a lot of us definitely identify with the idea of sanity runs. That
Yes.
that's definitely makes sense to me. Have you been back to the Berlin Marathon in any capacity?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, I went back. Every year they choose somebody one of their past winners to honour them and put them into the Hall of Fame. So I was back there a couple of years ago for that, and it was lovely, and they made a big fuss. And then I went to the London Marathon. They did something. Oh yeah, in the London Marathon, they get every past winner to plant a tree in Greenwich Park,
That is so
and
cool.
yes, yeah, yeah, and then they have a little label of the tree that you have. So I must go back and see that tree in a few years' time, see how it's doing.
Oh, I
So
love
yeah,
that.
that's a nice gesture, all right. Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool. I'm doing London in the spring. I'm gonna have to go see all those trees. That's such a
Yes.
cool thing for them to do.
Yes, yeah, no, it was nice, and Liz McColgan was there that day as well. She was planting a tree. She's a past winner, and
Yeah.
Paula Radcliffe actually, she's won it a few times. So yeah, it's nice. It was a nice gesture, and we had a lovely weekend.
Which of the two, as a winner of both Berlin and London, which of the two courses and races in general did you prefer?
Look, I suppose any race you win, you're going to have good memories of it, and I liked both of them equally. I suppose London Marathon has a little bit more prestige about it, and I suppose that's what sticks out in people's minds more than the Berlin Marathon. But to be honest, the course in both of them is, it's really good. It's flat and fast, and generally the weather conditions are good. So I enjoyed both of them equally. Although London was a little bit of a tougher race for me because my stomach began to talk to me around halfway, so I had to entertain that for the last 13 miles or so. But I had a smoother ride in Berlin for sure. But yeah, no, both days were very enjoyable.
Awesome. Will you be watching Berlin this year?
Yeah, yeah, I tune into them and keep an eye on the fast times that people are running now.
Oh, it's crazy. It's
Yes,
insane between
yeah,
Berlin and Chicago, just the
the times that people are running just and I guess a lot of that was probably with super shoes because obviously in the 90s y'all didn't have the carbon plated crazy, 4 foot tall whatever they are
Yes,
shoes
yes,
that
yes.
they have now.
Yeah, yeah, they definitely have an advantage, all right. But look, they still have to put in the miles. Marathons are tough. There's a lot of training and a lot of things. I don't mean to be negative, but a lot of things can go wrong. So I have to give credit to anybody that finishes a marathon, regardless if you're running 2.5 hours or 2 hours 15 or 3 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours, whatever it is. It's a long way. It's 26 miles. We prefer to say 26 miles than 42 kilometers. It seems a little bit shorter.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that last point too that seems to go on forever. You finally reach the 26-mile marker or the 42-kilometer marker and it's like, why am I not there yet?
Yes, yeah. Well, generally, isn't it also like people find the last 4 or 5 miles the toughest, and
Yeah.
that's really, as I always say, that's really when the marathon starts. But people are much more knowledgeable now, and they're taking on their gels and they're keeping hydrated. And I don't think we see as many people hitting that famous wall, as we call it, because they are more prepared, and obviously they have the shoes that can help them along the way as well. But no, it's a credit to anybody that finishes the marathon. Actually, we have a Dublin Marathon on here at the end of October. So it's a very, very popular marathon and difficult to get into now because so many people want to do it. So I live beside a big park here, the Phoenix Park, we call it. And if you go in there now, there's people running in all angles because, everybody's doing their mileage now and preparing for the Dublin Marathon.
Very cool. Will you be watching the Dublin Marathon as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes, yeah. I generally go into the park to watch it and then go to the finish line and meet as many people as I can there and see the excitement on their faces when they cross the finish line and relief, of course.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Final question. What advice do you have for somebody going into their first marathon this fall?
Yes, well, look at to enjoy it and obviously to make sure not to go out too fast because that's a big mistake that a lot of people make because you're rested and you get carried away with the adrenaline and with the atmosphere before, during the first maybe 5, 6, 7 miles. And if you go out too fast, faster than you have trained for, as I say, it can be a long way home. So make sure that you know what you're capable of doing, and you should know that from the training that you have done, what pacers that you're going to follow, so that you have a comfortable journey over the 26 miles.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Katrina, and I hope you have a great time supporting everybody running the Dublin Marathon and in your own endeavors as well.
Thanks very much, Hilary, and the best of luck in the London Marathon. You'll have a great experience.
Thank you so much.
Wow, what a great conversation. And thank you so much to Catherina McKiernan for being my guest on this episode. Even though Katrina is retired from running professionally, she still holds the Irish national records for the 15K, half marathon, and the marathon. That is all for today's show. Thank you for continuing to listen, and I hope that you will join me for a very special announcement during the next episode. As a reminder, this episode was sponsored by My Race Tats, and not only can you save 20% off your order by using my code Hillary, you can get a free Run Chicago tattoo if you happen to find me wandering around the Windy City at some point during race week. I'm your host, Running Up That Hillary, and this has been Today in Running History.